Part 1, leaving the dock detailed. The dock is covered in mist. The harbor bell rings, 8 bells for the change of watch. The ship's side is dark with tar. The brigantine is 2, masted. The foremast has a square sail. The aftermast has a gaff sail. The binnacle has a clear glass. The chronometer is wound at dawn. The velvet-covered sextant is in an oak chest. Gilling runs each metal band around the wine barrel. Martins tests the shrouds and sheets. Richardson greases the pulleys. The smell of paint, turpentine, and damp algae mingles with the smell of people. The 4 on divided by 4 off schedule. 04 dog watch, 48, 812. The bell strikes every half hour. The sound is like a wooden clock's hands. The log is open on a blank page. Estimated coordinates: wind NNE, speed 6-7 knots, low waves. Sarah packed the first aid box, rubbing alcohol, bandages, goose fat, needles, and thread. Sophia hid Molly under her pillow, hanging it with twine. Fael checked the flour barrel, the salt box, lard, black pepper, and dried onions, chalking the lid. Enough for 6 weeks. First night, bow light shielded, stern light lined with green glass. The rigging hummed softly like a bass string. Briggs measured drift with a log line, dropping a small piece of wood tied with a knot, counting the rhythm of sand glass, the speed of the book Good Omen. In his dream, he saw the horizon stretching, and when awake, he wrote one word: healthy. Part 2, tongue-tied rhythm, detailed. Steady day. The deck was scrubbed with pumice. The teak grew warmer. The salt on the hull crystallized like dew. Richardson learned to read cumulus cirrus clouds. Martins pointed out the low-flying storm bird before the weather changed. Gilling tested the aneroid barometer. The needle dropped 0.2 marks in the morning. Briggs just nodded, adding a small dot in the margin. Wind changed to northeast. Lower jib to lighten bow. Adjust boom to avoid gusts. Sheet whistled through pulleys as thin as knives. Waves lying cat, flat surface but steel blue. Richardson said, electric smell hairs on arms. Clean storm. Water poured wide, not in grains. Thunder cracked under stern. Lightning slashed like knives. Rudder weighed half a hand. Briggs ordered, hold course. Martins wedged wooden buckets. Fael tied pots to deck nails. After rain, blue sky slits like open letters. Calm seas, short-tailed foam streaks Briggs hasn't written, just remembered. Spur rivets, crossbeams breathed a new note. Part 3. Very slight imprint. Fill in details. Wine cellar, 1,700 plus industrial wine barrels bound with iron straps. Pressure difference makes wood expand, hum like bees in a box. Gilling wedges the leak with a knife leaf. Martins bars the hatch to keep it from drifting. Boatboy checks the escape valve, finds threads in the dark wood, joints old stains, bails out water, plugs in rags, inserts more bolts. In the morning, the wet stormbird touches Sarah's hand, leaves a trace of salt on her wrist, then flies low west. Barometer drops another 0.1, 0.2. Wind changes its mind. Sometimes compresses, sometimes releases. Waves go diagonally instead of go with. The ship is not difficult, but the rhythm is strange. Briggs says to go around the moving low pressure. Better to lose a day than to lose order. Fael adds half a pinch of salt to the soup. Sarah sometimes drops her spoon not because of the wind, because of the cold inside. Briggs writes in a small personal note, the sea changes its voice. In the sky, a patch of black coal is revealed. Below deck, traces of salt sweat on the steering wheel. Sophia learns to count the bells, falls asleep at the 7th, laughs at the 8th. Part 4. Second storm. The word retreat, detailed. Linguished clouds, hard edges, the waterline is dark in a strip. Quick orders. Retract gaff topsail, lower flying jib, cover hatch with tarpaulin, seizing rope tightens blocking lever. Sarah Sophia goes down to the hold. Storm lantern placed against the wall. Envelope in mailbox not yet sealed. The storm comes without warning. Lightning sticks in water column, booming from the bottom of the chest. Wind twists the neck of the ship like a string. Foam whips the sides. Richardson grabs shroud. Martins holds the tarpaulin to hold the lid. Gilling crawls close to the deck to tie the cleat. Below the hold, the oil lamp tilts a notch and then stands upright. After the storm, silence as thick as cotton. The assistant boat creaks. Water overflows. Someone slaps. Someone pushes. Fingers bruised. Briggs bows. Must be more careful. The word retreat pops into his mind the way out if the wine cellar is alive. That word chills the back. The next night, the sky is black and square. The sea hiccups. The rudder is half a thread lighter. The scent of metal is imagined to pass. The next afternoon, the wind falls. The ship is pensive. The binoculars show no sail, no smoke, only a dot of islands like the tip of a pencil. Log. Unusual weather. Below the line, leave a blank finger as if to keep a place for something unnamed. Part 5. The Piece of Uncertainty, filling in details. At night, Briggs thinks of the deserters. The story of the ship changing its voice. The unsent letter. Sarah's sentence. Will you call? Ink streaks of reefs. Passing the cabin, the breathing of mother and child is as regular as an hourglass. He closes the door like a book. At night, the wind changes slightly as if someone is turning in a dream. The North Star lines up encouragingly. Briggs mutters, "Tomorrow we'll meet a ship." Nod, go on. Far away, a small crack, whoever believes it will hear it. Others call it wood breathes. The coal strings. The sea changes its voice. Morning again. The sun coin touches the water's edge. The flag drops. The rope knots. The seashell clip in Sophia's hair. Briggs puts his hand on the bow, feels the warm beat like the heart of an old friend. Let's go, he says, just enough to enter each person. The sea answers in a silence of many words. Broken promises, unspoken questions, secrets in the sleepwalker's pocket. Mary Celeste turns the green way. Each wind has two faces. Each drop of water has a story yet to be told. Part 6. The Lost Sail. The 4th of December, 1872. The Atlantic is calm, but the waves are still. The sea is dark as lead. From the mainmast of Dei Gratia, the watchman signals. White sail to the northeast. Captain David Morehouse leaves the chart table, holding his binoculars. In sight, a two-masted brigantine. It sails crisscrossed, but the wind not fully set. The hull rocks out of rhythm with the waves, like a person who has lost a step. Where is the smoke signal? Morehouse frowns. Usually ships near each other have signs, or at least fly their flags. But the other ship mast tilted, jib edge torn, gaff topsail hanging loose. As they approached, the words on the stern appeared. Mary Celeste. Morehouse was silent for a moment. He knew this ship. Captain Briggs had had a drink with him in New York before the voyage, and had mentioned his wife and daughter. Morehouse ordered Oliver Devoe, the chief mate, and a few sailors to row over to inspect. The Mary Celeste's halyards were hanging in the water, clanking against the side. They climbed up on a frayed rope ladder. On deck, dead silence. The ropes were tangled but not broken. The rudder rocked gently with the waves. No one was holding it. The hold was still sealed, no sign of violence. Toolbox, chocks, logs all intact. Only the auxiliary boat was missing. The halyards were cut short, not broken. In the hold, a few dirty dishes on the dining table, a dried wine stain on the floor, no blood, no signs of a fight. Clothes hung on hooks. The bed had blankets piled up as if someone had just stood up. The log stopped on November 25, coordinates not far from the Azores. Since then, no sound. Devoe returned to report. The ship is sound, no cargo missing. But empty, Captain, as if it had just stepped out and disappeared. Morehouse listened, his hand on his chin, his eyes darkened. Bring her back. The sea has left a problem. We cannot leave the solution blank. Part 7. Leading the Orphan. To steer the Mary Celeste, Devoe and 6 sailors stayed behind. They raised the sails, reinforced the ropes. But the ship had a strange way of rolling, even though the wind and waves were not fierce. Every night, the deck creaked irregularly, like the sound of invisible footsteps. Devoe wrote in his personal notebook, "Strange. The first night I heard the sound of water pouring from the hold, but when I checked it was dry. The next night the oil lamp flickered as if someone was breathing close by. The sailors whispered, 'There is a soul here.' The journey lasted 2 weeks, rowing and being vigilant. The ship sometimes shifted its course by half a degree on the compass, forcing Devoe to keep adjusting it. A small leak at the bottom of the hold was not dangerous. The wine cargo remained, the barrels heavy but some of the lids swollen with steam. On December 12, they reached the Strait of Gibraltar. The port was open, the Greystone fortress looked down, the British flag flew. The dockers were agitated to see a pilotless ship being pulled in. The Mary Celeste was anchored, its wooden hull scratched by the waves, but still standing. Part 8. Gibraltar Inquisition. The port authorities immediately opened an investigation. The Gibraltar Maritime Court, headed by Frederick Solly Flood, A cautious but suspicious royal barrister scrutinized every detail. Cargo hold, nearly full. Only a few barrels of alcohol missing. Lids broken by pressure. Deck. Knife marks on rail, likely used to cut the ropes to lower the auxiliary boat. Cockpit. Compass askew. Compass glass cracked. Captain's cabin. No papers missing, only the nautical chart missing. Solly Flood suspected. Maybe the crew turned traitor, killed Briggs and abandoned ship. But there was no blood, no missing property. Others said, maybe Briggs thought the ship was about to explode because of the alcohol fumes, so he lowered the auxiliary boat to take refuge. But the ropes were cut short, and the waves swallowed them. Morehouse and the crew of De Gratia were to testify. There were whispers that they attempted to rob the ship, but there was no evidence. In the end, the court recognized that the Mary Celeste had been abandoned for no apparent reason. Salvage rewards were distributed, but less than usual because of lingering suspicion. Part 9. Unanchored Hypotheses. Years later, a series of hypotheses were put forward. Alcohol explosion. The alcohol tanks leaked. Gas accumulated. Briggs, fearful, ordered the temporary abandonment. But no burn marks, no burning smell. Waterspout. Sucked up water. Made the ship wet. The captain thought it was about to sink, but the ship was not damaged. Barbary pirates. But the cargo was intact. No marks of attack. Sailor mutiny, but no signs of a fight, and the Briggs men were loyal. Small tsunami, lifted the auxiliary boat and swallowed the man. But why are the logs still in order? And the more mysterious hypothesis, that the Mary Celeste hit an invisible depression of the sea, where the compass was confused, the sound changed its tone. When a person falls in, only the empty hull remains, like the skin of a snake left behind. Part X open end, silent end. The Mary Celeste was later resold and changed hands many times. But the ship seemed doomed. Each owner suffered misfortune, from capital loss to stock outages to sinking off Haiti. The last body was stranded on a coral reef, its trunk broken, slowly eaten away by the waves. But the mystery of the Briggs crew was never solved. No body, no news. Only the diary stopped on November 25, and the empty ship rocked to its own rhythm. The sea kept its word, as Sarah once said. The sea keeps what it wants to keep. Tonight, anyone standing on the deck of a strange ship off Gibraltar could hear the wood crackle, as if someone had tapped 3 times. Someone left. Someone stayed. There was something left unsaid.